Hello again, and welcome to another podcast of movies, music, and movie music. I'm Len Schaefer along with David Barrett, and we're going to talk about some more movies tonight. So, David, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so this is our version of the great Siskel and Ebert, and I just want to tip my hat to those guys, and always enjoyed watching them doing movie reviews. So this is our version of that, and yeah, so I'm going to start off with a movie. First of all, I'm going back to this is my VHS collection. Um, in case you don't know, VCRs play VHS tapes, and all these titles that I'm about to show you are on Blu-ray and DVD, but this happens to be my VHS collection. First of all, Richard Gere, a great actor from American Gigolo, The Jackal with Bruce Willis. I mean, the guy's had a fantastic career.
Right. Breathless.
Breathless with some other Gere movies. Yeah. So let me just say that
Unfaithful, another really good
yeah,
one.
Yeah, that one that you were talking about. He's a great actor, but to me, he's no better than playing his first villainous role as a dirty cop named Dennis Peck in the movie Internal Affairs.
Yep, I've seen that one. It's very good.
Andy Garcia, Richard Gere, William Baldwin is another dirty cop in this movie. This is phenomenal. The thing is, Richard Gere has never played a bad guy in his whole career except this one time. And I Wikipedia'd this, and there actually is quite a bit of history that there were a lot of famous actors that were trying to get this role. And Richard Gere was the end up to getting this role. Again, Internal Affairs, Andy Garcia, Internal Affairs officer, trying to bust the bad cops, which is William Baldwin and Richard Gere, among others. And he plays a real despicable character. Yep. Who's basically got his hands in pimp and prostitute game, illegal drug dealing. He's also a murderer for hire. He's as bad as it gets. Richard Gere as Dennis Peck in Internal Affairs. And it was directed by, is that Dave Foley? Or no, Mike Figgis, okay, from Crash and I'm trying to, Leaving Las Vegas, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is the same guy who directed those movies later on and found quite success with that. But if there's any one Richard Gere movie to see and you don't want to see him playing the hero or the ladies' man, I'm telling you, this movie is incredible. Internal Affairs, Richard Gere. Definitely watch this and enjoy it. And it's the genre of, crime, dirty cops, and, betrayal, and many other things.
He
Great
plays
flick.
it really well. He does.
Yeah.
Interesting story about Richard Gere. He did Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, great movie. He and Deborah Winger did not get along at all. She hated him. She said he was a real jerk. He treated everybody like crap. He was full of himself and everything.
Wow.
So she used her anger at him and her hatred of him in those passionate love scenes.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty funny.
I have to mention I met Lou Gossett Jr. At one of the many conventions I go to. And I love that line when he goes, "You got a problem of mayonnaise," right?
Yeah, right.
So Richard Gere, folks, great actor, Officer and Gentleman, but even better yet, Internal Affairs. Check it out.
Yeah, Louis Gossett, who was so brilliant in Roots, right, as Fiddler.
Yeah.
And to talk about versatility, to play like the Roots character and then go and play someone like the officer, the sergeant and Officer and a Gentleman. That is some serious versatility right there.
He is incredible. Rest in peace, Lou Gossett Jr.
Yes,
he probably died 2 months after I met him in Las Vegas at the Days of the Dead convention, and what a great actor he was.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, the first one I'm going to talk about today is one that I just discovered a few weeks ago. I'd never heard of this movie before, and I absolutely loved it. I just totally fell for it. It's called An Unfinished Life. It's from 2005, and it's got Robert Redford, J.Lo, and Morgan Freeman. So Damian Lewis is also in it, who some of you might know from the first couple of years of the TV series Homeland. He was great in that. And then there's also a stellar debut from this girl named Becca Gardner. She was 12 or 13 at the time, and she played an 11-year-old, and she practically steals the movie. She is just remarkable. So
wow.
The basic story is J.Lo's running away from an abusive boyfriend, and she has nowhere to go, so she takes her daughter, and they move to Wyoming to the ranch of Robert Redford, who's her father-in-law, who she hasn't seen in 10 years, and who blames her for the death of his son. So they haven't spoken. They're really estranged from each other. And so, in fact, one of the first lines, he says, "I don't want you here." And she says, "I don't want to be here." That's kind of how it starts.
Wow.
So anyway, it moves on from there. Morgan Freeman is someone who used to work for Redford, but was attacked by a bear and has been badly injured. So Redford has been kind enough to let him still stay on his property, and they're basically really good friends. So Morgan Freeman doesn't really have a lot of action. He's basically almost bedridden the whole time, but he's really great in it, as he always is. Of
What
course.
a cast.
Yeah, the one person who I thought did not work in this movie was Damian Lewis. He plays the abusive boyfriend, and he just, to me, comes across too soft. I don't see that. That's the only real negative I would say about the movie. But
what is he known for more?
Well, like Homeland, as I said.
Oh,
he's been in other stuff as well. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I've liked him, and he was great in Homeland. He's the perfect character for him. This one I thought was not a great fit, but the rest of the cast is excellent. J.Lo is great.
How is she related to Robert Redford? She's Latin and he's white. So how's that going?
No, I said daughter-in-law. She married his son.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, another great character in the film is actually the bear itself. They do have several scenes with the bear, and it is remarkable how good an actor the bear is. And is
it a real bear or animatronic?
It's a real bear. It's not
okay.
animatronic.
Wow.
Tronic, I can't say the word. But it's just remarkable to me, these Hollywood trainers, what they can do with animals. Because some of the stuff this bear does, it's just, and it's beautiful too. Just absolutely beautiful bears. So a lot of great acting, the great Wyoming scenery, some really beautiful cinematography.
Sounds like Legends of the Fall.
A little bit, yeah.
Because of the Montana and the Wyoming landscape.
And here's one thing that's interesting is they actually wanted Paul Newman for the Redford part. But really? Newman was, his health was too poor, so he wasn't able to do it. So he was actually chosen before.
They probably got the second best guy next to Newman, right?
So to me, one of the great signs of a really great movie is when I kind of am so lost in it that I forget I'm sitting on my recliner watching a movie,
right.
And I'm so lost in it and it ends. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not actually there. I'm not actually a part of it, So that's what this movie did for me.
Wow.
I loved it. It's a little bit on the slow side. Some people might find it slow. I thought it was beautiful.
I personally like movies that are slow with a lot of dialogue.
Right, a lot of dialogue and great character development.
It doesn't have to be exactly character development.
Right. And it's, it's kind of a cliche that two estranged family members that gradually grow to have respect for each other. I mean, we've all seen that a million times, but it's how you do it rather than just, somewhat predictable storyline. But they, with a cast like that, you can imagine it's really well done.
Wow.
So, the movie, again, is called An Unfinished Life from 2005. Definitely worth checking out.
And in case you don't know who he's talking about with this J.Lo, with her Ebonic street name, it's Jennifer Lopez, who's a singer. She played Selena, right? And also she was a singer and a dancer on In Living Color, the show. Right. And then she became an actress. And I think the Selena role put her on the map. But then she was in that movie you were mentioning with Wesley Snipes. And
yes, Money Train, another really good movie. Yeah. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, yeah.
And then when her and Ben Affleck...
by the way, who else was in that? Was what's his name? Beretta. Robert Blake, before his whole murder investigation.
Really? He was in that movie?
He was the bad guy in Money Train.
No way.
How appropriate, right?
Well, then when did Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez hooked up, when were they called?
Well, that was years later.
But what was their the nickname?
Well, when he's with Jennifer Aniston, it's Benifer. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know about with Lopez. I don't know if they had a nickname for that. But.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go on to the next one. Okay. Out of this great pile of VHSs, okay, I'm going to bring out one that has an all-star cast in it. We're talking about David Bowie, Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, Jeffrey Wright.
Wow.
Benicio del Toro, Courtney Love, Parker Posey, and Michael Wincott from The Crow and Metro. So many people. I'm talking about the movie Basquiat as a painter from New York. David Bowie plays, and there's Bowie as Andy Warhol. Okay. Dennis Hopper, one of my all-time favorite actors of all time. Gary Oldman, and what can I say? I can't say enough about Jeffrey Wright. Okay, he was the Puerto Rican drug dealer in the Shaft remake with Sam Jackson. He was in that movie with Matt Damon and George Clooney, Serena, right?
Right.
Seriana.
Oh, sorry, right.
Yeah. And this guy.
And he just did the fiction one, where he was the writer. What was the name of that movie? Something Fiction. I can't remember.
I don't know, but
that was really good too.
He's so good. He may be the most underrated actor in our lifetime. This guy, he's a chameleon. Okay, he plays Basquiat like with just he lives it. Everybody, all the supporting cast are all major players. Of course, it was filmed in New York. In case you don't know, he's a New York painter, and he just really impressed Warhol and all these people, and they got an exceptional cast. This is really one hell of a movie. It's worth watching just for all the great people that pop up in it, and in the cameos and the short little supporting roles. But really check this movie out. Like I said, it's right up there with Pollock with Ed Harris. It's about a painter and just someone, the history of an artist that it'll really blow your mind. So again, Jeffrey Wright, see him. If you see his name on a movie, see that movie. But this is him playing the great Basquiat. So there you go. Check it out. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, the next one I want to talk about is one of Denzel Washington's first movies.
Ooh,
before he was Denzel, the big star. He did this movie from 1991 called Mississippi Masala, and it is absolutely one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love this movie. Also has Charles Dutton, who some of you might remember, who played the groundskeeper in Rudy, among many other things. He was in the TV series Rock. He was the star of that.
Yep, on the TV show Rock,
And Sarita Choudhury is in it, and she's another person from Homeland. She played Mandy Patinkin's wife in Homeland, the TV series. But this was her debut, and the movie is basically Denzel plays he has a hotel cleaning business. And this is something I didn't know about, but apparently a lot of people of Indian descent, like India as in India, not Native America.
Yeah.
So a lot of people of Indian descent live in Mississippi, and a lot of them own hotels. So, so he has this cleaning business where he's cleaning all these Indian hotels, and he has a little rear ender with Sarita Choudhury, and he meets her, and they end up dating, and this becomes a huge problem because a lot of the people of Indian descent are quite prejudiced against black people. And it's interesting, they give some backstory for why her father is very prejudiced. He actually is not from India originally, he's from Uganda. Mm-hmm. And he and his wife, he was a doctor, and they lived really well in Uganda. And in I think I have the year here when it happened, 1972, and this really happened, Idi Amin, who I assume most of you know, he was like an insane dictator, and we won't even go into all the horrible stuff he did. But one of the things he did was he decided that all Indians had to leave Uganda. And of course, it wrecked the economy, and there were a lot of lawyers and doctors and other professionals. And anyway, so this man who was a doctor in Uganda now owns a hotel in Mississippi, and he's very bitter and he's always suing Uganda to try to get his land back. And he also is very bigoted against black people because of his personal experience. So there's all of that background, and then you get this whole romance between Sarita Choudhury and Denzel Washington.
Does it get into the personal experiences that he had, that he hates them so much?
Yeah, it does. It does talk about that.
It shows some backstory about that.
Yeah, okay. And there's actually a great, a wonderful scene. One of my favorite scenes is where she is meeting Denzel's family, and one of the younger, like teenage boys says, this is really interesting. Like, we're African, but we've never been to Africa, and you're Indian, but you've never been to India. And it's kind of a great way of showing how much they actually have in common, that they really should not be at odds with each other, that there's a lot to, that they share a lot of experiences. So, And there's another line where he says, Denzel says at one point, where he's being discriminated against, and he says, I know that I look at you and you're just a little bit lighter than I am, and you get here and you act like you're a white person. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it is a romance, but it's not your typical romance because it's also got a bigger picture dealing with politics, prejudice, immigration, and other things. And like I said, it's a great chance to see Denzel right at the beginning, and you can see already how brilliant he is even in this movie. Mississippi Masala from 1991, another one well worth checking out.
Yeah, that sounds about around the time Denzel did the Spike Lee movie called Mo Better Blues about a jazz band with Wesley Snipes and a bunch of people in that. And Denzel was, one of the players in the band. And what a career he's had. I'm so impressed with him.
Such a talented guy.
He's done so many great movies. Book of Eli, Training Day.
Yeah, that's the one he won the Oscar finally for Best Actor.
Yeah, he had to play a bad guy for them to give him an Oscar.
But I think he won the Oscar for Supporting Actor for Glory, didn't he? I know he was nominated.
That was another good one, Matthew Broderick in Glory. Yeah, that was great.
Morgan Freeman's in that one as well.
Yeah.
So,
Him and Morgan Freeman are definitely two of the best actors in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Amazing resume for sure.
It's a fun movie. Have you ever seen the one where Morgan Freeman plays God and it's Russell Crowe as Noah?
No.
So he comes in. He has Noah, but he's a modern Noah. He's being told to build this ark, and everyone thinks he's crazy, of course, because it's like in the 1980s or whatever.
I have heard it, and I've seen stills of it and stuff. But
I can't remember what the name of the movie. I think it's just called Noah. I think, but I'm not sure about that. But another fun part for Morgan Freeman, and who better with that voice to play God, right?
I
guess James Earl Jones would have been a good guy too, as well.
Yeah. No, they have some really distinctive voices that command your presence for sure. Well, I'm going to go into one that I think is a performance of a lifetime. Going back to Richard Gere, Edward Norton was in this movie with Richard Gere. I think it was his breakthrough role. I'm trying to think of the movie. Forgive me, but it's Richard Gere, Edward Norton. Richard Gere is the lawyer defending Edward Norton.
Right.
And turns out that Norton is guilty when he convinced Gere and everybody
now you're
else.
Just giving a spoiler for the whole movie. You shouldn't give away.
Anyway, but the Edward Norton I'm talking about is probably the greatest thing he's ever done in his career. He's so hardcore in this movie. The supporting cast, I met Edward Furlong from the kid from Terminator 2.
Oh, and, he's great.
He was in a movie with Jeff Bridges and Edward Furlong, who I met at the Monster Palooza. Fairuza Balk, who ended up in Waterboy and Return to Oz. She's his girlfriend. The great Stacy Keach, who plays the cop in the Cheech and Chong movie Up in Smoke.
Didn't he just die recently, Stacy Keach? Yeah.
So he's in this. And Edward Norton, and I'm talking about American History X. Now, what a movie. He plays this real neo-Nazi dude. Stacy Keach is kind of like the mentor and the boss of the gang, the clan. And it's total destruction. Beverly D'Angelo plays a dramatic turn. You may know her from Vacation. She's in this. And also Avery Brooks is the school teacher trying to set Edward Furlong on the right path. And the great Elliot Gould is in this movie as a dating interest, and the scene at the table where they have this debate and argument about the Rodney King thing. It's you can't take your eyes off of it. It's like a car crash. You want to not look at it and pay attention, but you can't help not to. And when they raid the store, and they just tear up the store, it's pretty brutal. If you have any kind of like soft, this movie's really hard. It's a hard watch. It does have a great ending to where it's kind of like a morality tale. They teach you, to where, somebody can turn from bad to good under different circumstances and everything. But American History X is really, and if you look deep into it on YouTube, they even have about the director who came in and he wasn't happy and Edward Furlong didn't get along with him. And so it was this big mess. And if you just YouTube American History X, behind the scenes or how it got made, all that stuff will come up. But it really put Edward Furlong on the map to really have the career that he does. And you see him in Death to Smoochie and Rounders with Matt Damon. And the list goes on and on. He played the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk in one movie. But to me, the Edward Norton role and movie is American History X for sure.
Yeah.
Great
absolutely.
supporting cast all the way. Check this movie out.
And you talk about another actor who's shown tremendous versatility over the years, Edward Norton. I mean, he was great in the movie about Larry Flint with Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was the lawyer in that.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great supporting cast.
He's been in so many good movies and shown a tremendous amount of versatility, which I always really appreciate. I mean, I love actors that can kind of display their own personality and kind of have a similar type in every movie. Yeah. But I also really love the ones who can just become a chameleon and you never know what's going to show up.
That's what I'm saying. Guys like Edward Norton, Jeffrey Wright,
yeah,
Christian Bale,
Daniel
Day-Lewis
right?
is another one, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about another one I just discovered recently, and this one is actually just from last year, 2025, and it's called Roofman, and it's based on a true story. It's with Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, and Peter Dinklage, who's always excellent.
Okay.
And it's an unbelievable story, and it is a true story. This man was an escaped prisoner, and he lived in a Toys R Us for 6 months without being discovered.
Wow.
It's really incredible. Of course, if you know Channing Tatum, he's always so likable. Talk about one of the most likable actors, you know, in terms of the characters he plays. He always has a kind of twinkle in his eye and a charm. And even though he's playing a prisoner, and he actually got the name Roofman because he would break into McDonald's through the roof and rob people.
Okay.
So he would cut holes in the roof. But when he robbed people, he was so nice about it. He always said right off the bat, I don't want to hurt anyone. Please just cooperate and we won't have any problems. And he went over and above, to try to keep people safe. So he was just about, he needed the money for his family. He was a veteran who was struggling finding work. And so this was what he came up with. So he robbed a string of McDonald's in Florida. It's pretty funny. I mean, I know you shouldn't laugh about crime, but it's actually kind of funny. But that's why he's called Roofman. And, a few interesting things. First of all, Channing Tatum actually lost 70 pounds to play the part.
Oh, wow.
So he played him at 172. To me, that's always amazing how many actors are willing to go through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially
Christian
the ones,
Bale and the Machinist.
Oh, yeah.
The
ones that get super thin, really, they're playing with their health.
I know, right?
But, or the other way around. Sometimes they'll put on weight. But yeah, so overall, just a very entertaining. It definitely has some funny moments, as you would expect, given the story. But it's also mostly a drama. And, Channing Tatum, I mentioned, Kirsten Dunst is great. I won't talk much about her role because I don't want to give spoilers here. But we'll just say that she plays, she does a good job also. And like I said, Roofman from 2025. I
was going to say, because the Toys R Us franchise closed.
Right.
So is this set in?
Yeah, it's set I think 20 years earlier or something, like the early 2000s.
That makes sense.
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew after the movie remakes of 21 Jump Street that Channing Tatum, he did pop up in the Quentin Tarantino movie Hateful Eight.
He was in that?
Yeah, he was the brother at the very, very end. But yeah, so wow, it's still a working actor,
Well, he's done the Mike with the stripper movies.
Oh yeah, the Magic Mike.
Magic Mike movies, 2 movies of those. Are there 2 or 3? Yeah. I know there's 2.
I like when there's good-looking actors like the ones before him, Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp. That
right.
They don't let their looks sell. They don't play predictable, safe roles.
Right.
They challenge themselves, and sounds like Channing Tatum's doing that. We'll talk about a very challenging role and an actor who is beyond words to explain this guy. First of all, the movie was directed by Abel Ferrara, who most people refer to him as the poor man's Martin Scorsese, which couldn't be further from the truth because he's a New York filmmaker. Abel Ferrara, look his name up if you don't know. He did King of New York with Christopher Walken. He did a movie called what was another one? He did The Funeral with Benicio del Toro, Christopher Walken, and Chris Penn. And Abel Ferrara, he's done one of his earlier movies, The Driller Killer. And then he did a vampire movie with Christopher Walken and Lily. What was her name?
Lily Taylor.
Lily Taylor.
Okay.
And this is a vampire movie by Abel Ferrara. And it's all filmed in black and white. So the reason I'm leading up to Abel Ferrara's career is because he's so amazing. This movie I'm about to show you here, another VHS classic here, but it is on DVD and Blu-ray. It is rated NC-17, and it stars the great Harvey Keitel, and it's called Bad Lieutenant. And what a movie this is, okay? So there's the man you'll never forget. So in the tagline of this movie says, Bad Lieutenant, gambler, thief, junkie, killer, and cop.
But other than that, he's great.
And yeah, and there's a hard. This is another hard movie to watch. Let me tell you, because there's a gang who breaks into a church and rapes nuns. There's a full frontal scene of Harvey Keitel showing his penis with, and he's shooting heroin up in his arms. There's another scene where he pulls over two teenage girls, and he basically orders them to talk dirty to him while he whacks off next to their car. This guy's really despicable. He's a big-time gambler. He thinks he's above the loan sharks because he's a cop. They're reminding him, oh, no. Amazing. I'm telling you, the Harvey Keitel movie to see, Bad Lieutenant, directed by Abel Ferrara, maybe written by Abel too. Harvey Keitel, he's done some great movies with, he was in Copland. He was in Scorsese movie.
And he was in The Piano as well.
Yeah. He's so good. And again, this one is one of my all-time favorites. It might be my favorite Harvey Keitel movie. Again, Bad Lieutenant, a crime drama, dirty cop movie. Same with along the lines of Internal Affairs. But you'll never see more of a mesmerizing performance between like Harvey Keitel or Ed Norton in this one. Like, these guys really own these roles. I can't even see anybody else who could have played them.
Yeah.
So again, Bad Lieutenant, Abel Ferrara, Harvey Keitel. Check it out.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about a Clint Eastwood movie, and I'm not a big Eastwood fan overall, but
as an actor or director or both.
I guess I like him more as a director than as an actor, but overall, I'm just not a big Eastwood guy. But this one I really liked, and it surprised me. It's not the kind of movie I would have thought I would like, but I really liked it. It's called Gran Torino. It's from 2008.
Yeah.
And Eastwood also directed this one, actually. And he plays a surly, bigoted Korean War veteran who lives next door to this Hmong family. And one of the things I liked about this movie is how many movies do you ever see a Hmong family? In fact, that might be the only one I've ever seen. So I like that they explore something different. So, there's a lot of course, terrible language and a lot of bigotry, but, it's kind of part of the character and the story. And it's basically this teenage boy from next door. He has a cousin who's a gang member, and the cousin keeps pressuring him to steal this prized possession of Eastwood, which is this 72 Ford Gran Torino.
Yeah.
So the boy goes and tries to steal it, and Eastwood catches him. So Eastwood, rather than turning him into the cops, makes him work for him to atone for his crime. And of course, as you would expect, gradually over the course of the movie, they kind of get to grudgingly respect each other. And also, I should mention that Eastwood has an absolutely gorgeous Labrador Retriever in this movie, and that was his personal dog that he used in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty nice. And the dog is so beautiful, and I'm always a sucker for beautiful animals. So interestingly enough, this was Eastwood's most successful movie ever, but if you take inflation into account, he did have at least a couple that were more successful. His most successful movies, if you take inflation into account, were Any Which Way But Loose from 1978 and the sequel, Any Which Way You Can from 1980. But if you don't take inflation into account, Gran Torino was his most successful. So one of the things I read about is some people think that Unforgiven was Eastwood's farewell to all of his roles in Westerns. And they say that Gran Torino was kind of his farewell to his Dirty Harry type characters.
Okay.
So it's at times hard to watch, but I think it's quite compelling. And it's, the redemption of these two completely different souls and how they kind of come to work together. And it's, it's definitely worth checking out again. So
Cool.
Gran Torino from 2008.
Yeah. And here's a movie from 1992 or 1. Okay, it's a really weird movie. So they say, imagine David Lynch's Eraserhead meets John Waters' Pink Flamingos and the movie Brazil.
Oh, well, now there's a combo. Wow.
And the movie is called The Dark Backward. And the lead is Judd Nelson, and the co-lead is Bill Paxton.
Oh, wow.
And they play garbage men in this really otherworldly place that's not really, it seems like anywhere. It just seems like some kind of fictional place, but it's just really dirty. And even though they're the garbage men cleaning up, the area never gets clean. The garbage just keeps piling up. And they have a special brand of products in this movie that the toaster is a Blum's brand. The peanut butter is Blum's. The cigarettes are Blum's. So it's this running gag that the director and writer, Adam Rifkin. So this movie is available. It just got re-released on Blu-ray and a special edition DVD 10 years before. Just came out on Blu-ray a month ago. And this is a VHS. And Wayne Newton plays a sleazy Hollywood agent. So Wayne Newton's in it, Bill Paxton, Judd Nelson. And Judd Nelson is an aspiring comedian. So he goes to different comedy clubs to do his act, and he's a total fail as a comedian. And also in this movie is Rob Lowe.
Oh, wow.
Playing a Hollywood sleazy agent. And James Caan plays a doctor in this. And Lara Flynn Boyle is Judd Nelson's love interest. Probably the best thing I've ever seen Bill Paxton do. He's like an animated cartoon character come to life in a real version movie. Again, James Caan, Rob Lowe.
You said something about a running gag, and then what was the running gag about?
Well,
Blump?
it's a product that they made up with it's called Blump's product, and they have this lady's face on it, a cartoon character.
Yeah. Who
who happens to be the writer director Adam Rifkin's grandmother when she was younger. So they have her face with this Blump product symbol, and it's literally everything. The garbage truck is Blump's. The canned fruit, like I said, everything in the movie is Blump's, and it's called The Dark Backward. It is really quite a treasure. I mean, movies like this, they don't come around in Hollywood. They do movies like this for the passion of the art. They can care less. They know they're not going to win any Oscars. They know that it's not going to win greatest actor or director. They do it for the love, and I'm really surprised they got financing from this movie. They do a Q&A with the cast like 15 years later with the director, Adam Rifkin, the producer, and the writer of this movie, Adam Rifkin, and then Judd and Bill in L.A., and then they have a Blumps documentary. So one time we should watch this together. Yeah. I'm sure I've already piqued your interest with the cast alone. Right.
And do you know what year it came out?
It's a real, hence the title, The Dark Backward. It's a very dark comedy. And again, Pink Flamingos, John Waters, the movie Brazil, and David Lynch's Eraserhead. So you got the weird, the gross, and the bizarre. I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind movie, folks. I'm telling you. Out of any movies I review, in the next 20 to 50 movies, there is none like this. This is one of a kind. Again, it was just released on Blu-ray, and hopefully Netflix will put this out, and more of the world will see The Dark Backward. There it is: Wayne Newton, Bill Paxton, Judd Nelson, Rob Lowe, James Caan.
And do you know what year it came out?
1992.
92. Yep. Okay, great.
So The Dark Backward, again, one of a kind movie. Nothing else like it. And I'm going to squeeze one more in because I'm a big Michael Keaton fan. Of course, I love him as Batman, Beetlejuice, Mr. Mom, Night Shift with Henry Winkler. So here he is with Christopher Lloyd, Peter Boyle and this Stephen Furst. And this is a comedy, very underrated flick for all these actors. It's called The Dream Team.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
It's so funny. They're escaped mental patients that kind of like get lost in New York, and they're just bumbling around, and it is just pure comedy. I mean, Michael
and it's
Keaton.
Very sweet. It also
It really is.
Sweetness
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, but it has just it's just amazing in every way. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but anyway, they're from a mental home. Their driver gets lost, and then they get out of the van, and they're bumbling around and getting into trouble and mischief. And Michael Keaton, it might be one of Michael Keaton's best roles, next to Night Shift with Henry Winkler,
right,
next to Beetlejuice. I mean, this guy is so good. Again, an actor who plays such a great villain in Desperate Measures with Andy Garcia. Plays a great villain in Pacific Heights.
Oh yeah.
I'll later review those movies with Michael Keaton, but The Dream Team is a comedy. It kind of reminds me back to him going back to Night Shift and Beetlejuice, where he's just so mantic and just so funny. And the guy's a American treasure, man. Michael Keaton is
and
just...
Peter Boyle, who was in the Addams Family, right? Wasn't he in the Addams Family?
No, that was
TV
Christopher
show?
Lloyd. You talk about Uncle
the TV,
Fester?
Yeah, and the TV show of the Addams Family. I think that's where Peter Boyle started. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember him in Young Frankenstein. I think.
Oh yeah, he was in that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but Christopher Lloyd again. What a career! I met Christopher Lloyd at the Silicon San Jose sci-fi convention. The nicest guy in the world. What a career, from Taxi to Back to the Future to like everything. And this is another great Christopher Lloyd. I mean, they got really 4 actors to play the part, but Michael Keaton is definitely the standout of this. But yeah, everybody has their moments. Peter Boyle, Christopher Lloyd, Stephen Furst. Again, The Dream Team. Great comedy. I'm glad you saw this too. That way you can comment on it. So
yeah, I definitely liked it.
It's really
very
cool.
likable movie.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And that's my stack of 6 and Len's stack of 5.
I've got one more, actually.
Okay, let's do it.
One Michael Keaton movie we didn't mention, which was a drama, which I actually really liked. I think it was called My Life, where he plays someone who has cancer, who's dying.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
He does this series of videos for his unborn child because his wife is pregnant. And it's really touching and beautiful and sad, and it's a really lovely movie. I think it's called My Life. Don't hold me to that, but definitely another great Michael Keaton movie. So as usual, for my last movie, I want to talk about an older movie, just to, spread the word about some that I think are great. And this one is a classic. I mean, anyone who loves older movies would absolutely love this one and know about it. Mm-hmm. It's called Roman Holiday, and it's from 1953, has Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck. And, there are some actors who are stars, and then there are superstars, and then there are a few that almost explode off the screen. Marilyn Monroe was one of those. Like, you could not take your eyes off her, right? I think Audrey Hepburn was the same way.
But is it because of their beauty, or they actually are damn good at acting?
Well, it's both, but I think it's not just beauty.
I'm asking because I'm not as familiar.
Right. I don't think it's beauty. I mean, it is beauty and acting ability, yes, but it's more than that. It's like a kind of presence.
A charm and a charisma, maybe.
Charisma that just like exudes. It's like perfect for the screen. And it's funny, I had never actually seen an Audrey Hepburn movie when I was watching an episode of MASH, and they were talking about Audrey Hepburn and how they all I think it was Colonel Potter had fallen in love with Audrey Hepburn or something. And I thought, oh, okay, but then I saw some of her movies, and this one in particular, I swear to you, if you do not absolutely melt when you see one of her ear-to-ear grins, there's something seriously wrong with you. You're like sociopathic, because she will just melt your heart. Yeah. I mean, and she plays a princess who has this rigidly controlled life where, she can't ever really do what she wants to do. And she's always told, at this time you're doing this, at this time you're doing this. And she just gets more and more frustrated by it. And finally she runs away when they're in Rome. And she decides she wants to go out and do stuff on her own. And she falls asleep because they had given her this medication to help her sleep. Mm-hmm. But she runs away before it takes hold. And then it takes hold. So she passes out basically on this park bench. And Gregory Peck discovers her. and he doesn't know who she is at first, but he's a reporter. He eventually finds out she's a princess, so he knows he has a chance for the scoop of a lifetime, right?
Oh, nice.
So he originally ingratiates himself into her life and helps her out on the promise of having a great story that'll make him a lot of money, right? But of course, as you can imagine, in this kind of classic Hollywood style movie, the romance develops, and I won't go into too many spoilers, but she actually, this was her first major film. She had done a few minor parts before, but this was her breakout role. And she actually won the Oscar for Best Actress for it. She is just incredible in it. Not just charming and charismatic and, exploding on the screen, but her acting is also very good in it, as is Gregory Peck's. Eddie Albert is also in it, who some people might remember.
Yeah. From Green Acres?
Yes, right. Green Acres, exactly.
That's the only thing I knew Eddie from. Sorry, Eddie, but yeah, you must have had a great career. But yeah,
yeah. So he also played the warden in Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, the original Longest Yard.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was great.
Thanks for bringing that back. I'm a big Burt Reynolds fan, but I seem to have forgotten that Eddie Albert was that guy. Okay.
So interesting. We talked about either one or two podcasts ago. I talked about Spartacus and how one of the writers was Dalton Trumbo, who had been blacklisted during the McCarthy era.
Yeah.
So Trumbo was the writer of Roman Holiday, but because this was in the height of the McCarthy era in 1952, of course, he couldn't be listed as the actual screenwriter. So a friend of his, Ian McKellen Hunter, was listed as the writer in the credits. Hunter did forward the $50,000 payment over to Trumbo, who deserved it, of course. Mm-hmm. And Hunter then ended up winning the Oscar for Best Screenplay, Best Original Screenplay. And finally, in 1993, 17 years after Trumbo died in 76, they corrected the Oscar and gave it to his widow. But it ended up being a duplicate because Hunter's son, Hunter had also died, and his son didn't want to give up the original, which seems very bizarre to me because he hadn't done anything for it. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you want to hold on to a trophy for something that someone didn't do? It's very strange to me. But anyway, so they had duplicate Oscars. And then finally, when they restored the film in 2002, they changed the credits so that it listed Trumbo as the writer. So it finally did get corrected. But a couple of other interesting trivia tidbits about this. When Hepburn won the Oscar, she was actually on Broadway doing a show called, I believe it's pronounced Ondine, it's Ondine, and she won the Tony Award later for that show, and that made her one of only two actresses in history to win an Oscar and a Tony in the same year. Wow. With the other one being Ellen Burstyn, who won the Oscar for Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore in 1974, and then won the Tony for same time next year, which is another movie I will talk about at some point, a classic movie with Alan Alda and Ellen Burstyn.
She was in Requiem for a Dream, right?
She was, Ellen Burstyn.
We're going to review that one, too. Stay tuned.
So people compared, at the time Roman Holiday came out, they compared Hepburn's character to Princess Margaret, who was, scandal-ridden in England at the time. Mm-hmm. But the film took great pains to make it clear that she was not British, right? They never really define where she's from, but they make it obvious she's not British because they didn't want to get in trouble with the royal family, of course. Roman Holiday is ranked number 4 on the American Film Institute's list of the 10 greatest romantic comedies. And here's another interesting sidelight to this. Both Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck met their spouses while they were filming Roman Holiday in Italy. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting irony there.
They didn't fall in love together like some...
No, they did not. They did not.
Other people.
Right, there is, I think, at least a 10-year age difference, maybe more.
But... Isn't she from Breakfast at Tiffany's, too?
Yes, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and what was the other one? She had another similar one that was like Breakfast at Tiffany's, but she also did Wait Until Dark, where she played a blind woman who's invaded by people looking for drugs. Very scary movie.
I'm not familiar with her work, but you're
so some other major actresses were actually considered for this role or applied for it. Gene Simmons, Elizabeth Taylor, Deborah Carr, Angela Lansbury, Janet Leigh, and many more. But it went to Audrey Hepburn. Obviously, they made the right choice. Yeah. And I just have one more note here. Just basically saying it's an absolutely delightful and joyous film, and great performances all around and lots of beautiful views of Rome. So nice. Roman Holiday from 1952, that's my old movie for this podcast. Cool. And thank you again for watching. Here's another good one.
Look at that. The Goonies. Remember this
movie? Yeah, that's a good one too.
So maybe we'll bring that one up next time. But Yeah, great episode, man. Thank you.
So thank you again for watching another episode of Movies, Music, and Movie Music.